You are now listening to the Divorce Diaries podcast with your host. Well, that's a secret. No names, ages, or any other identifying characteristics will be used as we protect the young and innocent. You'll be taken on a journey as one man considers getting a divorce or remaining married. The Divorce Diaries daily entries chronicle the decision-making processes in real time as they unfold day by day. He hopes to add a bit of clarity to his sometimes muddled mess of a marriage. Cheating, overspending, sex, sadness, and betrayal are the characteristics of this marriage. Is he making the right choice? Welcome to the Divorce Diaries. Entire seasons are released on Patreon weeks before anywhere else at Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Link below in description. Now for today's episode.
Hey, Divorce Diaries. I'm just pulling up here at work, and I had to record this. This was not on the schedule today. This was not planned, but I'm listening to Jillian Michaels and Cheating When Love Lies, the January 11th, 2022 published episode is called My Mom Used Me to Hurt My Cheating Father. And this is a story growing up in her native Ecuador. My guest, Maria Mendoza Smith, lived a privileged upper middle class life filled with nannies, maids, and caregivers until age 6. Maria lived with her mother, father, and extended family who helped raise her. Unfortunately, Maria's father was a serial cheater. So when his flagrant sexual exploits became too embarrassing and difficult to tolerate, her mother took extreme measures to end the emotional abuse brought on by the affairs. Some may qualify Maria's mother's actions as bold and justified, while others may see how she responded to the cheating as abhorrent. And in this episode, Maria talked with poise and grace about how she resented her mother, longed for her father's attention, and struggled with lifelong abandonment issues sparked by her father's affairs. Maria's capacity to forgive and accept what she calls the gray area of morality helped her find peace with both her parents before they passed away, then go on to build trust and devotion in her own marriage of 20 plus years. So the only part about this that I'm going to tackle is because I'm in the very early stages of my wife manipulating my kids and withholding information. I really strongly advise people to go back and listen to the January 11th, 2022 episode of Cheating When Love Lies. My mom used me to hurt my cheating father. And I'm only halfway through right now. There's about 25 minutes left in this podcast. And the woman is saying that she's at the phase where she's talking about the lies that her mom told about her father because of her resentment and her anger toward her father after he cheated. And she's also talking about how she feels as a 6, 7, 8-year-old, she would have been able to accept the fact that dad was maybe with other women and wanted to be with other women, but adding the extra sauce of the lies of him being on drugs, which let's say it's true. What does that help? Let's say it's not true. Ooh, how does that hurt? So I'm just, as I'm in the throes of the manipulative lies that my wife is doing with my children, I was just happy to hear, because I was going to wait until I got off work to record this, but I wasn't going to record this at all. I just was happy, I guess, to hear. And then now I just read the description for you guys, but that she was able to, over the next 10 years in adulthood, she was able to look toward her mother and see her mother as a liar, a manipulator, but a hurt woman, a very, very hurt woman. And she was able to see and notice that the years that her father wasn't in her life, it was because her mother took her to another place and did not tell her father. And her father had no way of finding out where she was. And I'm only a county away from my children, but emotionally and mentally, my wife is not telling me what's happening in therapy sessions. My wife is telling my children one thing and then doing another. My wife is texting and sending things with a certain energy and tone, but calls me on the phone privately with the most visceral, horrible things to say. My wife is claiming and feigning that she's been abusive, but she won't say a word about altercations she's started, verbally, emotionally, or physically. It's a very tough position to be in for any parent when one person is scorned or upset or is convicted and feels that anything they do and say is justified because the other person hurt them or they feel that they've been hurt by the other person. It's a very toxic situation, this divorce that I'm going through. But my friend asked me, when he considered all the medical issues that I'm going through, the 3 times that I moved in 2021, all of the problems that he knows of, either third hand from me, which could be bullshit for me, but the actual messages and emails that he's seen, the things that he knows that my wife has done, and the way that I've handled it, he just kind of said to me a few weeks back, he's like, how are you still upright? How are you holding on? And I say to him, like, I don't really know. What else am I supposed to do? After having worked through a lot of things with my therapist, I know what it is. I've encountered so much trauma in my life that this is par for the course. It's expected. It's what I'm used to. I'm not used to things going well or smoothly. I'm not. It's pretty much the same age my daughter is now. My parents were going through their messy divorce. From the time I was in single digits to my mid-20s, my parents were in court the entire time, roughly. And probably 13 of those years to 15 of those years, they were divorced. Everything was done and settled, but they were still going back and forth. Legal bickering, physical bickering, verbal bickering, just bickering. And neither could really let the other go fully until, I guess, life just maybe forced them to. And this is after my dad even got remarried. He still wanted, I guess, my mother on some level, but he wanted it on his terms. And he was so angry at how things had ended. Pained and scorned parents are the absolute worst. And I will say, because I just heard the host Jillian, she said, you know, I can feel for the woman. And that's where we differ. I can't. Because I know that one thing I would never do and continue to do, and yes, this may come off as holier than thou and do I think I'm better than people. You know what? Sometimes we are. Sometimes we are better than people. And it's okay to say. If there's a guy like Charles Manson and he mass murdered a bunch of people, and I have not done that, I am better than him. I am better than Charles Manson. I sort of look down on the notion of a pimp. A pimp pimping women and manages his business as the women whore out their bodies for money. He takes a cut of it in exchange for protection or something. I don't pimp women, so I feel I am better than a pimp. Now, with that said, can I reach into my bag of perspective and say, wow, that quality of leadership and sales that a pimp has is something that I wish I'd had. Yes, I can say that. But that still doesn't mean I don't think that I'm better than a pimp or that I don't think a pimp is beneath me. I do. And I know, based on how I've parented, I am better than my wife in this respect. I have said things out of anger and resentment that I shouldn't have to my children about my wife. It has only been a handful of times. That's one. That is why I'm better than my wife. My wife does it consistently. She's done it for years, and it's persistent. So the fact that I don't persistently and consistently bash my wife or misshape or misrepresent her to my children, that makes me better in that respect. Second, the times that I have said things that I personally feel I should not have said because it was a bad mouthing, disrespectful, portraiture of my wife, even if it was 100% true, I have gone back and I've said, I'm so sorry. I should not have told you that. I maybe came up with some bullshit excuses. They weren't bullshit, but I feel that any excuse when you're doing something totally wrong is bullshit. But I've said to my kids, that wasn't something that I should have shared, even though your mom did that. And blah, blah, blah. I should have done it. I suck. Please forgive me. If you can in any way try to forget what I said, I would like you to do that. The damage is done, and I will never do it again. And it was me, and I was fucked up for doing that to you. I'm sorry. Done. I've done that. My wife does not do that. She does not go back and say, hey, that thing I told you about your dad, I did leave a few things out. I left out the things I did. And I don't think that there is an upside for me telling you the things that I should have, that I left out, because it's only going to let you know just how much more ugly that situation was. But what I will say is, your father is not the dark man that I've painted him out to be. And I'm sorry. I'm very angry with him. I'm angry at what he did. But I overreached, overstretched, over-exaggerated, and also left out things that, to be honest with you, don't make me look so great. I'm sorry. Please love your father, respect him, and I'm sorry that I lied to you. Those are words my wife will never utter. So for that, I'm better than her as a parent. Yes. And it's okay to say that. It's okay to lean into how you are better than other people. It's okay to judge. And it's okay to say something like this. My wife is better than me. She is a gentle, less pushy, and controlling person than I am. Her gentleness with the kids and me is one of the key things that kept us together for as long as we were. I was a person that was motivated by fixing things. I wish in my motivation to fix things, it didn't extend into the obsessive or into the people that I also loved. My spirit of wanting to fix things led me down the path of being able to point out and see and highlight flaws. You can't fix what's not broken. And I am and was the type of man that would typically find quickly things that were broken or wrong or needed fixing. So I would then take that that great quality, if I was an engineer where I needed to fix things, or if I was a Geek Squad member at Best Buy where I needed to fix a problem, my ability to dissect and find the flaw, great. My ability as a parent to find, point out, and then try to fix the flaws in my children or my wife, very, very bad thing. Had it not been for my wife's great quality of not having that terrible trait, who knows how long we would have been married, or if we would have even have gotten married. She was able to tolerate that in me and weather that perpetual, persistent, and consistent storm from me. I'm now in therapy, been in for a really long time, trying to work it all out and just understanding why I have such a problem with acceptance, accepting any reality on reality's terms. My wife was a liar and she is covert. But the fact that I always pointed out her lies, explained to her her covertness, tried to objectify her into a logical way of thinking and saying, hey, stop fucking lying. The only thing that did was make her go deeper into her hole and lie more and more and withhold more and more. That's what my wife did. Lied all the time, withheld all the time. It's just the way that she moved. And me always pointing it out only made her want to lie more because she didn't want to deal with my criticism and me pointing out what was wrong, highlighting it, and trying to fix it. She didn't want to deal with me. And one of the only ways to not deal with me were to keep things out of sight for me and out of mind, because if I didn't know about it or see it, how could I critique it and fix it? Very tough. This is the Divorce Diaries. I know who I am. I know why I am. I know where I am. At least right now. I know there are a lot more layers to my sordid and warped onion, but I'm trying to explore them so that I can be a better version of me. Absolutely crazy. Cheating When Love Lies by Jillian Michaels. I think it's Michaels. I keep saying Michaels. That feels like the girl from Biggest Loser. Cheating Love Lies. I don't know, man. Maybe her name is Jillian Michaels. Is her name Jillian Michaels? I'm still looking. I don't know, guys. Sorry about that. Podcast one. Yeah. Ha! Jillian Hamilton. Jillian Hamilton. Is everybody with me there? Jillian Hamilton. Damn it. I'm sorry, Jillian Michaels. You're the Biggest Loser girl. It felt wrong every time I said it. Jillian Hamilton. Listen to the podcast from January 11th. My mom used me to hurt my cheating father. January 11th. Cheating When Love Lies. Jillian Hamilton. Peace.
Wow. That was the Divorce Diaries podcast. The Daily Saga will continue tomorrow. The full season's episodes are on Patreon now. Subscribe for early access. Click the Patreon link in the description. Hopefully, these entries help our anonymous recorder as a form of his own personal therapy. That's his hope and his intention. Will these recordings of life's curveballs lead this family to the best resolution in the end? We'll keep listening. New episodes are released daily on all podcast players, but all episodes are available on Patreon at Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Until next time.